You're live. Yeah. Did you check the light? Say good morning.
Good morning.
They're all kind of sitting there. There we go. Did you check the solar this morning? Woo! Wow. Woofy. There we go. Static in the house this morning. Good morning, y'all.
Good morning.
And if you ever joined us for morning live, you might know that this computer, when we see ourselves on their screens, like the first time we've looked at ourselves for days.
Yeah, it's
Oh, goodness gracious. Good morning and welcome. I think we're 1 minute early.
we're a moment too early.
We're a moment too early. Talk about timing. That's today's subject. I didn't tell you.
In the moment,
No, timing.
timing.
Oh, goodness gracious. So if you're joining us for the very first time, we apologize in advance. Hey, how are you, honey? And all we do is sit and have coffee and talk about a topic. Sometimes we pick one, sometimes y'all pick one, sometimes we don't have one. But today I came up with one right before I was actually, good morning, honey. How are you, Sherry? Um, I was actually, oh, Sherry, are we getting rain today, y'all?
We need some rain.
We need some
We
rain.
need
We
some
didn't get any,
coolness.
not one drop of rain. And we're hot as Hades. Anyways, it's not scripted. Somebody said, gave a comment the other day, and they said, I love the show. And I laughed a little bit and I teased them. I said, it's not a show, it's just having coffee and chit chatting with friends. And nothing scripted. Normally, we don't know what we're even going to chat about. God just heart and we open our mouths and there we go. Or sometimes we just open our mouths and there we go. It's not always God driven.
So there.
That's our introduction. I'm Amber.
I'm Tim.
And we're two of the five Bradshaw family members that moved from the city in Myrtle Beach to off grid in the mountains in East Tennessee. And sometimes we talk about that. We might discuss a little bit about what we're dealing with our off grid electricity today. But today's topic, and I know last week I said I wanted to talk about fall gardening, and I really did want to talk about fall gardening. And that's not going to happen today. See, tell God your plans.
We're going to talk about timing.
Timing. It's kind of important. And it's very much been a major part of our lives since before we moved here.
The clock.
The clock. We're always beating the clock, y'all, as homesteaders, though. And I swear we are. We're either hurrying up and beating the frost clock, we're hurrying up and beating the summer heat clock, we're always trying to beat the clock. Hurry up and get the garden in the ground. You only got 6 weeks before your last frost date, start your seeds. You only got 6 weeks before your first frost date to get your seeds in the ground. I mean, it's always trying to beat the clock.
The stress that the clock brings is a little overwhelming at times.
Yeah. And then you also have the harvest clock. It's like, your tomatoes are getting ripe and you got to hurry up and do something with them. Or your beans are the perfect length. If they get too big, they get woody and you don't know what to do with them. Or you can't use them, or the okra needs to be cut just when it's this big, not when it's this big, or it tastes like straw,
Stick.
a stick, like you're chewing on an empty stick. Yeah. And so we're always trying to beat the clock. Hang on. Sherry just said something about the weather, and I can't read it with my eyes. Isolated thunderstorms possibly after 3. Oh, booger. That ain't enough. God knows what we need. Somebody might be praying for no rain right now. Like, Sherry, it's possible. I'm not putting this on your brother, but he might have said when he heard that thunder yesterday that he had to bale all that hay. God, don't let it rain yet. That might be why we don't have rain. You never know. God can't ever answer everybody's prayers at the same time. Or can he?
Yes, he can.
He's not bound by our laws and rules.
Well, let me tell you something about Tennessee. I know that it can rain a mile down the road and we won't get a drop here. So
What are you talking about? It's rain down in the holler at the cabin and not
yes,
up
rain
here.
down at the cabin and not a drop up here.
It can rain on my car out there and not rain
So
here.
that's
But y'all, it's been a crazy week. I think that's my motto. Like every time I talk to somebody, oh yes, he can. God is amazing. Yeah, dear. As soon as I said it, I was eating my words because I'm like, yep, he can. Good morning, Philip. How are you, honey? And I need to catch up on Mighty Network, but it seems like every week I'm saying someone's like, "Hey, how you doing?" Said it's been crazy, and I keep thinking that it's a new crazy. I think it just recycles itself.
Yeah, it goes around.
Yeah. So we're talking about timing, and we have our timing. I always said, you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans.
Yeah.
That's been a very long saying, and I know I didn't invent that. But normally, let's start out with Monday. Monday, we sit and have our coffee when we're not doing live with y'all. We have our Bible study, just the two of us. Lyndon's normally still sleeping. And we talk about what we'd like to get done that day. Tell God your plans if you want to make him laugh. Do you remember Monday what our plans were initially?
Well, yeah, we're putting in a new front door, and well,
The trim work around
it
it.
didn't happen.
Let's not beat to the punchline just yet.
Okay, you tell the story then, because I'm a.
He's gonna lick all the red off my candy. No, where he's putting in we're relocating the front door. It was over here, now it's going over here. Our door that we had in there, we put in when we were filming, building off the grid. It was a recycled door we got for $10. It didn't have no seal, it didn't have no casing, and it gets pretty drafty. And it had a stained glass on it that didn't let all the light in. So we bought a new door for over here that he installed. I don't know, y'all can't see it. And took that door and we're putting it up. And after that, because I thought he could do it that. I'm like, oh, and then finish fixing my car because my car I hadn't had a car in over 2 months.
Since the dog got neutered.
June 21st. Haven't had the car since June 21st. My alternator and battery, and then tie rods and all this bushings, everything went out on it. She's old, like me. And she says she's got over 330,000 miles on her, so her parts wear out. Anyhow, that was the plan. That was our plan. We had it all laid out. We had all the parts and everything that we needed, and then we had coffee. And Timmy went to go take care of the livestock. Now you can lead up your story. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, I'm thinking it was a normal day and I was going to go feed the animals. And I get down there.
Wait, hang on. Let me film this. You going into it like a story. Go ahead.
And I get down there, and our female pig is in with the males. And knowing that is something that you
only want
plan,
to have,
you plan these kind of things. Well, it wasn't planned, and I looked over and there's about a 60-foot tree that's down, and it took the fence out, electric fence. So
on the side of the hill, like it's not flat anywhere on our property. Yes. Nowhere on our property.
So obviously it loosened the wire, and she was able to go into the male side.
But wait, there's more. Timmy was wearing his safety shoes. What are your safety shoes, honey?
AKA flip-flops.
His slaps. He was wearing them to take care of all the critters.
And
then when you were on the side of the mountain taking care of this electric fence thing, what happened?
Well, I was going around inspecting, and then both of my feet flew out from under me, and I landed on my cushion.
No.
I have no cushion.
You ain't got no cushion. If it was me, I would have been okay. I would have been a little sore, maybe a bruise or two on my bum. But this one here,
yeah,
he's flat as a pancake. Yeah. He ain't got nothing.
So if you can picture all those vertebrae with that little bit of cushion in between each one, I was like, oh.
So then Timmy was down for 3 days. Peggy in 3 months, 3 weeks, give or take a day. It's normally their gestation is 3 months, 3 weeks, and 3 days, and you got bacon bits. They're pretty regular. And so, yeah. So now we got a down fence, a down tree, and a down Timmy. Sorry.
Impossibility, a bunch of little pigs. But I don't think that, knowing Peggy how she is, and I don't think nothing happened, but
she's pretty. picky about her men. But
Yeah.
George has been away from her for quite a while. We hadn't had any baby bacon bits in a while.
Yeah.
So, oh, and in case you're in the area, we've been trying to barter, sell, trade our bacon bits, all of them, for quite some time. That has not brought the right person to us. I think there's a lesson to be learned in all this, and I'm not sure what it is, other than the fact that, timing is everything. And when we got the hogs, it was not the right timing, and we did it anyways. I did it anyways. It was all me. I take full responsibility. I basically told Timmy that that's what we were doing, and we did it. And I've been regretting it ever since. So there we go. There's my lesson. But I don't should I mean you learn a life lesson, that
That's
should be
right.
it,
That's
right?
right.
It shouldn't be a daily thing. So that was the first part of timing, and our timing and God's timing and the world's timing is different.
So yeah, you've got your plans, you've got stuff you need to get done, and
Life happens.
when you have uh, a farm or livestock, man, you throw
Kids,
livestock and dogs and
anything
all that
goes.
into it. It just
You have to be flexible, y'all.
yeah,
You've got to be flexible. If you don't, it will eat you up.
that's right. No matter how much you stomp your feet or fall on your butt and scream and kick and scream, it ain't gonna do any good.
This and then another part of this, and I know I've shared this story, and if y'all been with us, you've heard it a couple of times. But when we were in South Carolina, I'll do a quick, short version. When we were in South Carolina, life was good. We had everything, good business, lots of jobs, kids were happy. We were existing, but we weren't alive. We were all plugged in. We had the same routine every day, but we didn't have. I mean, we had money in the savings, which we'd never had before. We owned everything. And out of the blue, God put on Timmy's heart that we were to sell it all and move to a place that we've never been before. Totally crazy. But we prayed about it, and Timmy had just rededicated his life to the Lord. Him and God were like this. And I knew enough about faith to trust in God and trust in my husband. So we decided to do it. And we presented the children with the idea, and they said yes. So, anyways, moving forward, I thought it was going to happen like tomorrow. When Timmy told me this whole vision that God gave him, I'm like, oh, okay, we'll put the house up tomorrow. Well, we had things to do. It wasn't the right timing. There was things that God was trying to put into place. So that from the initial conversation to the actual fruition was 1 year. And during that year, I felt like I couldn't plant a garden. I had to get rid of my livestock. We couldn't take on any new jobs because we were going to move. And I was frustrated. I was deflated. I felt like I was in this constant state of yearning for this homestead life on a bigger scale and not being able. It was just like it was there, but I couldn't grab it. I felt like a whole year of just chasing the stinking carrot.
So that was her, and then with me,
It was calm as a cucumber.
I was calm because all I was focused on was obeying God, and I knew that if I did that,
It'd all be okay.
it's everything's just going to unfold and it's going to be fine. So, and then I had a part of me was trying to explain to her
Keep me
and
calm.
keep her calm with everything because she was just going
Stir
nuts.
crazy.
Yeah, and it was
I even quit my job.
the tension that I saw in her was
The stress. Yeah.
yeah, the stress, but and it was basically just kind of everything because
I remember crying to you, and I was mad. I'm like, I've been a Christian longer than you have. Why didn't God tell me? Why did he tell you? And he looked at me. He just really, with the most compassionate, empathetic eyes, and he just said, I think I was supposed to convince you. Like, I was supposed to tell you, not God, me. Your husband, the head of the household.
well, part of it too was God was working in my life at the time,
He still is.
and well, I mean, in a way to
I've never seen him so calm, y'all.
Yeah.
I've never seen him
I've
so
never been like that
ever.
in my whole life. I've always been me, me, me. I can do this. I don't need anybody. And, and
But the
that's a
moment,
sad way to live, really. And
well, we all live
because
that way.
you don't have anything,
I don't have that peace.
yeah, no peace or anybody to turn to when you really need it. And you're just like, well, I've already turned everybody away. I told everybody I can handle this on my own. So here I am all by myself.
So during that
But God's
moment,
there.
yeah, but during that moment that he said I was supposed to, I think that was my job. I looked at him. I felt so ashamed that I was being such a baby about the timing and why wasn't it happening right then, right now? Why didn't I have my new homestead? And I looked at him and I'm like, okay, okay, I get it. I might not be able to trust my husband in everything 100%, but I can trust God. And if God's putting it on him and telling him, just be still, just wait. Because you said, I don't know when it's going to happen, Amber. I just know when the time's right, it's going to happen. And it's like you were telling me it was God's timing. I said, okay. And good gravy it did, y'all. And he has bigger and better plans than we ever. He sold our house for double than what we thought we could sell it for. He got us land triple the size of what we thought we would get. And his timing was so fast and so perfect. Nothing, everything came at us, attacked us. The devil came at us with 200% of his might, and nothing went through according to the devil's plan and all according to God's.
Yeah.
Nothing according to our plan at all.
Yeah.
We couldn't have planned this if we wanted to. So when people share with us, well, she's dumb chickens that they don't go to the electric fence. We've got the teens up here, y'all. They're new. They ain't figured it out yet. We'll see. We might have fried chicken for dinner. But I when I hear people all the time going, I'm just so frustrated. I'm in this apartment, I'm in this condo, I'm in this small building, I'm still with my family, and I want to be on my own and do this. I just don't feel like it'll ever come. I get it because I've been there. I get it because I wanted it so bad. I was letting that strong desire destroy my joy in the moment. And that's dangerous because there's a lot to be said for being happy where you are at the time in your life where you're at, in that place that you're at that God put you, because it's not his timing yet. There's joy to be found in that. And if you are upset because it's not your timing and you're letting that steal your joy, Satan is winning at that moment. Hang on.
So I don't know if I can add to that, but I know everything that I went through, it 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 put me in a different state of mind because I was able to, I don't know, just sit back and allow God to work, and it seemed like it made things easier on me.
Well, not only that, Timmy, I swear you got more done
I
than I've
did.
ever seen you get done, and you weren't exhausted.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
It was the weirdest phenomenon.
God's a motivator. He is, and you'll be amazed at the things that you end up doing that you're like, I would have never done that.
Yeah.
I would have never been able to do that. And
It was.
yeah, so
Do you want to touch up?
no.
You want to touch up?
So yeah, that's yeah, you walk away with a lot.
Y'all want coffee? What was that meme not too long ago? Coffee, make a coffee. There's some Yankee on TV yelling for coffee. I love it. Sorry, I didn't interrupt you.
Okay, well, anyway,
Hang on just a second.
I learned a lot.
Great testimony of how the Lord intervenes when we wait on him. Like, time means everything. There's nothing you can do to change that. Yep. That is 100% true. And especially when we're living our life for God. And I'm going to share a most recent story about this. And y'all don't mistake me when I say living a life for God. That doesn't make us perfect. that just knows that we know that we can't do this without him, and we're trying to seek his will because we know we've admitted our plans are bad for us. We don't know what the heck we're doing. I'd rather leave my trust, my faith, my life in the one who does know everything so he can guide me because he know how my story ends. I don't. My decisions are always horrible. Good morning, Linda. How are you, sweetie? So, talking about God's timing and God's plans, y'all, I've been working for this company for quite a while now, and I knew in my heart that this is not where my heart is. God put me here for a reason. I
In the
kept
season.
and a season, and I kept trying to figure out why. I thought at one time it was to influence this one young gentleman that was the manager. I'm the office manager, by the way. I work remotely, and that's one of my three full-time jobs. And anyways, I thought maybe that's why I was there to help bring this young man to Christ, and then he ended up getting arrested for child pedophilia, and it was a horrible situation, and I was distraught and I was heartbroken, and I'm like, okay, why am I here still? Why am I here? And I knew this is not where my heart was, but I know there's times where I wanted to say, I hate. I don't ever say that word. I don't let my kids say that word. Hate. It's a horrible word. We're supposed to hate sin. We're not supposed to hate people. Well, there's a lot of things that we're not supposed to hate, and especially if it's blessing your family because you're cursing it at that point in time. But there was a lot of times I wanted to say that I didn't care for that job and I wanted out. And because it was sucking the life out of me, it was sucking the joy. And I caught myself saying it not too long ago because I was frustrated. And then I said, you know what? I'm grateful for it. It allows us to get the things that we need to get for our homestead, like the parts for my car, the door jam and case in and all that we need. I'm grateful. I said, I'm just frustrated. And I'm like, is this what the Lord has intended for me? I said, it has to be because nothing else has presented itself. And there's several times that I personally tried to create my exit and it didn't pan out for this job. I tried to create the exit on my own and it never worked. And yesterday I found out the exit was created for me without me planning, without it being my decision, which is a little unnerving. So the company that I've been with for several years and the one that I've been managing for the last year is changing hands, and I will no longer have that position in 30 days because the new owner's wife, who handles all their other franchises, will be taking over my position. And I don't know how I handled it at the moment, and I'm still not quite sure how I'm processing it because it wasn't my idea and it wasn't my plan and it wasn't my timing. I stomped my feet just a little bit and I got upset and then I got scared and then I got nervous. I mean, I kind of went through those 12 steps of emotions. And then what was I saying to you last night over dinner?
Well, it's I think it's a blessing.
I said I want to be scared. I said I'm feeling mixed emotions, but I said it's God's timing. It wasn't my timing. I tried to make it my timing and it wasn't right. And I said, so I know enough about God to have faith that He's going to open a door.
Hmm.
I don't know what door that is going to be, and that's okay. I don't have to know. And He typically comes through at the 11th hour. God doesn't tell you what His plans are, so you don't have to have faith. So you're all comfy sitting back, you know, not having to have a lick of faith because you know it's going to be taken care of and you've got your nest egg all set and you're good to go for months without having to worry about it. That's not how he works. He waits until you have to have 100% faith and
Hmm.
rely on him or you're going to lose it. And then he comes through at the 11th hour and says, see, I got this.
Yeah, I mean, you went through all of that turmoil trying
Hey,
to
Steve, how
figure
are you,
out
brother?
a way to get out of something, and you just let some time go by, and then God
But I wasn't ready
God does
for
it
it
for you,
yesterday.
and it's another, un, just mark one down. You just another step in faith, and it
Huge.
seems like I mean, he does it over and over and over again, and we're just like,
Surprised
okay,
every time.
well, yeah, and then it's like,
And we freak out
we
every
end up
time.
starting, we have to start all over again because we lose it, and then he's there, he gives it to us again, and it's a repeating process, and we never, it's
Learn.
almost like we never get the point.
And then, and he talks about there's a couple times in scripture where it mentions that, look at the sparrow who doesn't stock up. And yeah, they don't go for naught. The sparrow doesn't know where it's going to get its food and water, but it's always provided for. Does he not care for us more than them? And he does. God provides. We have never, ever, ever in our lives gone without what we needed. We've gone without what we wanted, totally different situation.
Yeah.
But we've never gone without what we needed. And in his timing, there's that other little thing, and I'm sure y'all have heard it on the internet, and I've referred to it a couple times. I'm going to muck it up. But this guy, God promises to visit him or take care of him, and his day's gone really bad, and he was mad at the Lord. He was disgruntled. He was late for work because he lost his keys. He didn't catch the elevator. He spilled coffee on him. All of this other, stuff kept happening. And he's just, at the end of the day, he's like kind of cussing God out, going, where were you? Why didn't you show up? And God explained to him, he goes, I had you lose your keys because there was a drunk driver on the road and he would have hit you. I had you spilled your coffee because if you would have gotten the elevator at that moment, there was somebody in there that was sick and you would have gotten sick. And it just, God explained to him how he showed up and his timing. And after that, he's like, I'm sorry, God, and it talks about having that faith. And I'm sure that whole story was made up, but it was a great little story to share. And that's kind of how it is with us. Had my plans worked out for an exit strategy because I wanted to focus on homesteading and gardening and farming. I didn't want to do truck collision. I know now about truck collision, but when I started, I knew nothing about this business. And here I am managing these semi trucks and talking to CDL drivers and doing dispatch. And y'all, I'm not qualified to do any of it. God qualified me though for the last couple of years.
Yeah.
But my heart is like, I want to be with my chickens. I want to be with my goats. I'm mad that I can't do this. Why isn't an opportunity opening up so I can do what I want to do? It wasn't God's timing. And I have to be okay with that.
That's good stuff. I mean, if you just slow down and listen a little bit and allow God to work in your life, you'll get so much more
Amen,
out of
Philip.
it. You'll get so much more out of it.
There's a lot to be said for finding joy in the moment. And even with all of this turmoil that we have going on in the world right now, and even probably in your own life, you have to find that joy and peace. Y'all, we're here for a moment. This is not our eternal. This is where we have a job to do for God. We're not to live life selfishly. We're not to be all me, me, me. We are here to serve a greater purpose. And we lose sight of that so much. We constantly lose sight of that. And
I know I do. I mean, every time something pops up, and I'm sitting there going, I got to figure this out, and it's
no, you
not.
don't.
I need to figure out how God's going to work in my life, or
How to trust in
just
God. Yeah.
how to trust in God. But
He'll guide you.
it's not about me. It's about Him and allowing what He can do through me. And if I can just sit back and let Him do what He wants to do, I'll be fine. I mean, I don't know how else you can say it, but
That's gold, Jerry, gold.
it's a struggle for the one person to go through life and try to fix everything
On their own.
They're miserable.
Gosh, yes.
And
and for people that are control addicts like I am, I guess that's what you call it. I'm Amber, and I'm a control addict. I'm a control freak. I got a controlling personality. I like to be in control. There we go. Hi, Amber. How are you? Thank you for allowing me to share. I don't like not being in control. I have a very hard time with that. I have even a harder time being still and not acting. Like if something Pastor David was talking the other day. He said sometimes when people tell you their problem, people like to fix things want to fix it. They just want to act and fix it without praying first. And I've had that problem, that reaction pretty much my whole life. It hasn't been till my older years where I said, wait, let me pray about that first. God might not want me to do anything but pray about it. He might not want me to help them get a job or help them find food or help them find housing, all things that would normally make sense of a decent human being, but he might not be calling you to do that.
Well, yeah, you
He might
might
be calling you just to pray about it.
to pray about it, and someone with the proper resources or whatever may come along. It's just
Sometimes he needs
you
just
don't
to
know.
bridge the gap,
Yeah.
you know? And he wants us to pray about all the situations in our life, not just the big ones, but the little ones too. Even in the morning when we're sitting here having coffee and doing our scripture, pray about what we need to do for the day. I can't, you know what? Monday, I probably can't recall if we prayed about what we were going to do that day when we were talking about doing that door and the tree came down and the pigs got out and you hurt your back. I don't know. We prayed about that day. I know we talked about scripture and about God. I don't know. We ended it like, Lord, okay, what do you want us to do today? He wants to be a part of every decision like that. And I'm not saying if we would have prayed about it, the outcome would have been any different, but we should have.
Well, I do know one thing that God has taught me, that if you want a pig to move, just leave it alone. Do not go up behind it and try to push it and get it to go across a certain line or whatever.
Pancakes
You
work too,
just
y'all. Pancakes work.
leave it alone, because it ain't going nowhere. It will back up when you push on it.
Especially if she's 600 pounds.
Yeah.
You're outnumbered and outweighed. Just.
Yeah.
But anyhow, so yeah, that's where we went this morning, y'all. We didn't talk about fall gardening. We did a little bit when I talked about the frost dates and putting your seeds in. By the way, if you don't got your seeds started, look at your frost date. You're probably a little bit late behind the 8 ball if you haven't done that already. If you're in the warmer planting zones, you're still good. You're in the cooler planting zones, you better get on it and go buy you some start somewhere. But it's the timing. Don't get frustrated if you're in that situation where you just feel like you're stewing and God's not moving in your life or the pieces aren't coming together. And don't try to force it. We get heaven, we'll see what our prayers did. We will wish we had prayed more. Amen to that, Steve. Amen to that. And I ask for forgiveness all the time because I know I fall short and I know that there's a lot of times that I was disobedient. So I'm trying to I pray for forgiveness quite often. And then when he wakes us up in the middle of the night, so I didn't tell you, I had this in the middle of the night last night. So God knew that I was going to find out yesterday about my job. All week long, I have not been able to sleep, and I have been up at midnight. I've been up at 2. I have been up at 3. When I fall asleep, probably like 15 minutes before my alarm goes off at 6 a.m. And every single night, I'm wide awake, not a little awake, wide awake. And I've been going, all right, God, who do you want me to pray for? And nothing has been laid on my heart. So I just pray the Lord. I praise him. I ask him to step in where he needs to step in. And then finally I get to go to sleep and get a couple minutes. And after last night, in the middle of the night, I said, is that what you were having me pray for? All these pieces to fall into place, that I would have peace during this time. So when I got the news, I still would be comforted knowing that you're here, knowing that you got your hands on this, knowing that you take care of our situation. And I'm like, thanks, God. So, instead of last night in the middle of the night, instead of being distraught, going, oh my gosh, how are we going to feed our family? Oh my gosh, what are we going to do? I was praising him for what happened. Because we're supposed to give praise in all things, the good and the bad. So, Prius, oh, good morning, honey. Finally made one again. And sweetheart, you were at the very end of our live, but please do a replay, especially and I say this to people, we're not preachers. We share our lives, we share our testimony, we share your lives with us, and we're here having coffee with friends. But sometimes if you wanted to listen and there was something came in your way, there's a reason why you got distracted and you probably need to listen. It's not because what we have to say, but it's because what God has to say to you.
He opens the doors for us. He does. So in our world, we don't even need doorknobs. You know? Because he opens them for
He
us.
opens us
We don't
for
even
'em.
need to reach out.
And let me add to that real quick before we say goodbye is if you're praying about if you're not praying about something, but you have been, but you're not praying about it constantly until you see an answer, and a door opens, just because a door opens doesn't mean you're supposed to waddle your feet through it or run through it. Not every open door is open by God.
It's another opportunity to pray about it.
It's another opportunity to pray about it. And I have made that mistake in my life several times, and some have been a huge financial investment. And just because the door's open, God's not the only one that opens doors. Pray about that before you walk in and say, Lord, if this isn't you, if I'm not meant to walk through this door, I want you to slam it shut. I don't want to get my little fingers in there and pry that joker open. If you're not meant for me to walk through it, slam it shut. And he will. And that's my little story about open doors. Because every time I feel like I'm walking in faith and I see an open door, I just I waddle. I don't run. Through that door before praying about it. And I've made mistakes that way. So be careful about that. Use discernment. So moving forward, let's talk about this week, our plans. We got plans. We're going to go over, y'all. You okay with that? We're going to go over. Need to run. Have a great, fabulous day. You too, honey. We're wrapping it up. We're just going to talk about our week real quick. Timmy and Gavin have been building the addition on Gavin and Ashlyn's off-grid home. And y'all, they're more off-grid than we are. They don't even have a significant power source like solar and stuff.
They have fairy lights.
They have little solar fairy lights in their house. They have a propane fridge, and they do quite well. I mean, they're happy. It's hot as Hades up there. It was 100 and something degrees
yesterday.
Yeah. But you guys are working on building the addition up there this week.
Yeah, we've gotten the footers in, concreted in. We've got 2x12 band board. We're building it stout, and it's
it's going to be built to last.
Yeah.
But it's been really hard in the heat to work long days up there because it's in the direct sun. And after you're done doing that, we had that firewood delivered. If you missed last week, Timmy got an early birthday present.
I got a log splitter.
He got a log splitter. And his birthday ain't till October.
Yeah.
But he's been wanting one since we moved here. And probably before that. You wanted one back when we were Polly's, when you used to cut wood with Mr. Jordan. But he got a log splitter. So we need to be prepping some firewood for the winter.
Yeah, we didn't quite go through as much firewood when we lived
in Polly's
than we do here.
But it was pretty much our sole heat source during the winter because our bills were so inflated with our electric that we supplemented with the wood heat all winter.
It did help out.
And so anyways, and we got the log splitter. So we're hoping to move some of that wood up here and get that split. And then my poor little car needs to be running. We got the parts. So we got a lot planned for the week. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And next weekend, we're going to hope to go live on Saturday. But Sunday, we're going to be celebrating our 25th wedding anniversary.
25 years.
99 is when we got married. We had been together for almost 3 years, and then we got married in 99. 99.
We got married in hurricane season.
We did. We had one before and one after. It was funny. But anyhow, it went funny.
A lot of evacuating.
Linda remembers that. That was our second honeymoon because of that hurricane.
Yeah.
But anyways, y'all have a blessed day. We're gonna let you go. I still got a lot to do. There's always a lot to do, but remember about the timing. If it's his timing, not our own. And if we just be patient, really hard to do, and be still.
Allow God to work in your life.
It'll be so much better than we can plan for ourselves.
Yeah, we'll mess it up
every time.
Yeah.
All right, y'all have a blessed day. We'll talk to you guys next week, hopefully. Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. Great.
Thanks for watching.
Bye, y'all.